Hello readers, welcome back to Reads with Ruby with me, Ruby, and today we are continuing on with Gumshoes, the case of Madison's father, and we are on chapter 11, The Break-In. From the outside of Thomas Pharmaceuticals, one can never imagine this slick, glassy, eggshell white veneer of the inside. The sleek floors clacked with every time the loafers or high heels stepped onto them. The futuristic designs of the walls reflected as well as any mirror. In the center of the lobby, against the far wall, stood a high glass, circular reception desk, and seated in the middle of it was a jolly, plump receptionist. Along the wall next to the reception desk was a white door, the only entrance into the office corridor. Several individuals in expensive suits sat on uncomfortable white plastic chairs to gain access through the door. Every few seconds they shifted positions, only to find the new position less comfortable than the last. "Remember, I'm doing all the talking," said Stuart. Madison rolled her eyes. "It's really boring being your sidekick sometimes. I can speak too, you know." "I know. You just need some more training, young Padawan." "Really? All right, smart guy. Work your magic." They approached the reception desk, listening to the receptionist greet each bustling employee passing through the door. Madison Stewart stood patiently as she waved to a young scientist. 5 seconds went by, then 10, then 20. Close to a minute passed without the receptionist noticing Stewart's and Madison's presence. Finally, Madison cleared her throat, and the receptionist looked down at her. "Well, hello, little lady. How may I help you today?" Stewart looked over at Madison. She hesitated to continue. "Go ahead," he said. "Wow me." Madison smiled as she turned back to the receptionist. Yes, we're trying to give a package to somebody in a place. You know?" "No, I'm sorry, I don't follow." Madison froze, unable to think straight. Man, she thought, Stuart made this look so much easier. It's just, "Father, lunch." Madison threw her arms down to her side in frustration. Stuart stepped up to take over. "What my painfully shy sister is trying to say is that we're trying to get our dad's lunch to him. We called up, and he should be down any minute. Do you mind if we wait in your lobby?" "Absolutely not. Please be my guest." "Thank you, ma'am." Stuart grabbed Madison's arm and gently pulled her across the room. They sat on the uncomfortable white plastic chairs to regroup. What did we learn? Madison flopped down so hard on the unforgiving chairs that she nearly bruised her tailbone. "You made it look so easy." "It's okay," Stuart said. "It took years of practice for me to be able to tell a lie through my teeth like that." "You'll get there." Stuart watched a pair of employees, dressed in long white lab coats, slide their cards through a card reader and disappear into the secured office area. As the door closed, he noticed a bathroom on the opposite end of the hallway. Stuart opened his lunch bag and pulled out a juice box. He tore off the straw and punctured it. "I'm really sorry about this, Madison." "Excuse me," she said. Before she could form an eloquent protest, Stuart squirted juice all over Madison's pants. Madison jumped up and started wiping herself off before it stained. Oh my, what did you... I can't believe you." Stuart dragged her back up to the receptionist. "I'm really sorry, but my sister had an accident. Is there a bathroom around here?" "The only bathroom is available to employees." Stuart pointed to the stain on Madison's crotch. "I understand, believe me. All of these people waiting in your lobby are surefire hooligans. I can see it in their eyes, but look at us, we're kids. What's the worst we could do? Besides, if we don't see to it soon, it'll be permanent." Madison choked up. "I just bought these pants. They're the last thing my father... See how upset she is? Stuart said. How can you deny that face? Say no more, the receptionist pressed the button under the counter, and the door to the secured area clicked open. Thank you so much. Stuart pushed Madison through the door as it swung shut behind them. He stood in astonishment. That was brilliant. You're a natural. Madison wiped her tears away. Thanks, but did you really have to destroy my favorite pair of pants? Stuart rummaged through his backpack and pulled out a bottle of stain stick and handed it to Madison. Here, when you're as sloppy as I am, you need to be prepared. Go into the bathroom and take care of yourself. I'm going to get in touch with Timothy. Madison disappeared into the woman's bathroom. Stuart walked over to the company directory adorning the wall as he pulled out the nearest walkie-talkie. Tim, we're in. Come in, Tim. Nothing but static. Tim, come on, buddy, Tim. Stuart put the walkie-talkie back. The walls must be too thick to get a signal. Back at the treehouse, Timothy heard the static coming from his walkie-talkie and picked it up. He made out only garbled mumblings of every fifth word or so, nothing that could be construed as a complete sentence. Hello, Stuart, come in, Stuart. Nothing, just static. Must be out of range. Just then he looked at the screen and a look of terror contorted his face. The tracer on Otis's car showed him returning to the building. He was still a few miles out, but if Timothy didn't get a hold of Stuart, they were going to be caught. Oh no. Timothy flipped open his cell. I know you don't look like new texts do, but I'm about to save your bacon yet again. Timothy dialed Stuart's phone and waited for it to ring. While waiting for an answer, he heard a faint ring come from the couch. As he approached, he reached between the cushion and pulled out Stuart's phone. Man, it's times like this I wish I'd learned Madison's number. In order to move around in Thomas Pharmaceutical, one needed a key card. That is what Stuart learned while he waited for Madison to finish in the bathroom. He checked out the elevator. Not only did one need a key card to enter, but also additional fingerprint scan was needed to gain access to specific floors. A key card must also be swiped in order to enter the stairwell in front of which Stuart stood. As Stuart waited for the stairwell door to open, Madison exited the bathroom and handed the stain stick back to him. She had blotted the stain into a large wet spot on her inner thigh. It doesn't look like I peed myself, does it? Stuart looked down at the big wet spot on her pants. With every fiber of his being, he tried to choke down his amusement. But big spurts of laughter spouted forth. You know what? You suck. Stuart chortled. I checked out the company directory. Otis's office is on the 10th floor. Awesome, let's go. There's one problem. The elevators only work with a key card, so we either have to wait for an employee to use an elevator or a whistling scientist walked out of the stairwell and disappeared around a corner. Before the door closed, Stuart stuck his foot inside and grabbed the handle. Madison looked in and saw stairs that seemed to extend up into the heavens. You've got to be kidding me, she said. Come on, you're young, you can take it, right? I mean, you specifically have got to be kidding, said Madison. I can climb 10 flights of stairs, no problem, but you get winded walking between classes. I think I'll manage. All right, if you say so. Let's go. Stuart headed up the stairs. Madison headed up the stairs with Stuart quick on her heels. After a few steps, his pace became sluggish, and he grasped his side in pain. Stuart lay on the landing between the 9th and 10th floors, enjoying the cool of the concrete against his searing hot flesh. Madison had been right. Climbing the stairs had been too much for him. It had been intense and sweat-inducing, and now his shirt was soaked. Stuart was done. His body had given up on him. He was gasping for air. Madison, on the other hand, felt wonderful. She had barely broken a sweat, and now sat on the stairs just above Stuart, eating the sandwich from his lunch. I told you, she said. It's physically exhausting, and you're not in shape. Stuart, still gasping, spoke hesitatingly. I can do it. Madison sucked down the last bite of sandwich and wiped the crumbs off on her pants. Oh, really? Let's go then. Come on. You're only a few steps away. Just give me a second. Madison grabbed hold of his arms and dragged him up the stair, his shoulder whacking against each stair. Whack, ow, whack, ow, whack, ow. Quit it! Fine. Madison released him, and he fell down the stairs back onto the landing. Otis will be back eventually. You know, if we don't get in and plant the bug, the whole thing will be in vain. Go ahead, he said. I'm right behind you. All right, said Madison, if you insist, but quit dawdling. Madison opened the door to the 10th floor and exited the stairwell. In the offices on the 10th floor, were nothing special. By itself, the 10th floor hardly looked like the research oversight division for a large pharmaceutical manufacturer. It looked more like an insurance company. Every office was decorated with a single ficus plant that sat in the left corner of the desk. Behind a cheap wooden desk, an ergonomic chair. Stuart exited the stairwell, huffing and puffing. He had his left shoe in hand, and his right pant leg was ripped at the knee. As he looked around, he noticed not one person occupied an office on the entire floor. The eerie quiet haunted him for a moment until he saw a familiar figure gesturing him from the office next to his stairwell. Hey, over here, Madison screamed. About time. Stuart hobbled into Otis's office and found Madison rummaging through a stack of papers on Otis's desk. Stuart took a seat at the computer and looked at the message displayed across the monitor. Password required. Yeah, I already tried that. The caller ID lit up and the phone rang. Don't worry, it's been doing that non-stop. Stuart looked down and recognized the number on the caller ID. Wait a minute, that's Timothy's phone. Stuart picked up the phone as Madison yanked him away from it. What are you doing? Give it to me, said Stuart, as they struggled for another couple of seconds. But before Stuart ripped the phone away and stuck the receiver to his ear. You have to get out now, said a familiar voice on the end of the line. Tim? Stuart said. Listen to me, said Tim. Otis's car pulled into the parking lot and stopped moving 3 minutes ago. He's going to be back in his office any second now. You need to get out of there now. Bring me something with his fingerprints on it. We have to go. He's coming. Wait, what? Stuart looked around for an appropriate place to put his bug. Unable to find a suitable location on the desk, he turned to the ficus plant. He fumbled around in his pocket until he found the microphone. He hid the bug inside the soil. Come on, hurry up, said Madison. The elevator dinged, and Otis and several of his co-workers stepped out of the elevator, chatting. The group circled together outside the elevator in what only could be described as an impromptu meeting of the minds. Stuart reached over Otis's desk and grabbed a chewed-up No. 2 pencil for Timothy. Stuart stuffed the pencil into his pocket. Madison grabbed his collar and dragged him toward the stairwell. Now, she said. She pulled Stuart into the stairwell. As the door closed, Otis turned towards his office. Whew, said Madison. That was close. A few seconds passed. Madison Stuart stood shell-shocked when the door opened and a petite young woman dressed in a business suit popped her head in. What, may I ask, are you doing up here, sneaking around? Stuart's mind went blank. Luckily, Madison stepped in to save them. We're just playing around. Our dad works up on the 13th, but it's so boring up there. Sorry to bother you. The young woman eyeballed Madison warily for a moment before she smiled. Don't worry about it. I agree with you. Up on 13th, yawn fest. The woman shut the door, and Stuart patted Madison on the back. You're learning well, young Jedi. A great detective you might someday be. What a dork, said Madison. Stuart agreed. I know. Madison jumped down onto the next landing, and Stuart followed far behind, already huffing and puffing, after only a couple of steps. Wait for me. And that is the end of chapter 11. Like, subscribe, and see you next time. Stay safe. Keep reading. Bye for now, readers.